Guys, happy Sunday. So as usual, I get to drive a car at the weekends, and I figured I'm going to start making bits of video content to kind of help people move forward and to make videos that are quite different to the typical videos I might make, which might be a bit more scripted and which might be more solutions focused. But this type of video I'm making now is focused on me just sharing just what's on my mind at the moment and to kind of keep it quite raw and upfront. So I've made one of these before, and if you watched that one before, which is about 10 mindset shifts that completely changed my mind forever, I'm going to put a link to it below or at the top, as I've been told by my wife. I should point here. You can check that one out. Okay, if you're new to this channel, my name's Ken of The Humble Penny and Financial Joy Academy. What we do on this channel is to give you the tips, the insights, the practical hacks to help you make the right decisions and work towards this dream life of financial independence and money joy. Okay, that's what we do on this channel. So feel free to check it out, subscribe, all that stuff you have to do. But today I'm going to speak to you about something that's really important, which is about 6 ways you can start to attract more money to yourself. So here's the backstory. At one stage in my life, I probably used to make, I believe it was about £4 an hour, about 20 years ago, maybe a bit less than that now. And back then, there was absolutely no hope, as far as I was concerned, that I would be kind of generating the sort of income I'm generating today. I'm not one to show off in any way, shape or form, but I make a really good income. Let's put it that way. And we're talking numbers that are pretty comfortable, at least a very good 6-figure sum, right? And that's without a lot of effort. And today I want to share with you the various things that have kind of helped that income growth. Okay, so I'm in my mid-30s, for those of you who are kind of wondering. So I'm in my mid-30s, and I've been making 6 figures from the age of 30. So, and then it's just been growing. Okay, so just to give you perspective, okay, but remember I said to you before that, way before that, when I immigrated to the UK, the income was non-existent. It was zero. Okay, so when I hear people say things like, how could I even achieve financial independence because like I'm on a low income, like where do I start? I gotta laugh at that quietly, because if only these guys knew, right, where I'd come from, if only they knew, they would understand that pretty much anything's possible, right? If you really put your mind to it and you really want to achieve something life-changing in your own personal circumstances. Okay, so today I'm just going to share with you, as ever, this is not a scripted video. I'm just going to look at my notes, and I've got a couple of things I wanted to share with you as well, a couple of books, random books that I've just picked from my bedside, just to show you, kind of teach you some of the things that have worked for me on this path and things that can help you start to attract money to yourself. And I say attract because a lot of people work hard ordinarily, right? And nothing happens. So it's not just about working hard. It's about doing certain things in your life that mean that money just flows in, right? It just happens, right? So we're going to just run through that. Okay. So number 1, and this is top of my list, like by 100 miles, right, is a relentless focus on personal development. Okay, what do I mean by that? Now, we all obviously went to school, and lots of people have formal education, and for them, that's where school ends, right? Education's done. But for me, what I've noticed in my life is that there's been a positive correlation between my focus on personal growth and my income. So the more I focus on growth, I can barely even say the word. The more I focus on growth, the more my income increases, right? And the more I focus on growth, the more creative and imaginative and daring I've become, right? What do I mean by growth? Right, so here's some really good examples. A quick flick at my notes, okay? Now, number 1 on that list of personal development focus even, is reading books, okay? Now, as I said to myself, I'm going to just show these just to keep things real, right? Now, you might think because I'm talking about money a lot of the time, I'm reading money books, investing books, and I've got all those books. They exist on my collection of bookshelves, right? But let me just show you a variety of books I'm reading, right? So here's one. This is a book called Abundance, okay? And this book, to see what Richard Branson had to say about this book. He said, abundance provides proof that proper combination of technology, people, and capital can meet any grand challenge. Right? This is just a collection of what people are saying about this book. So why am I reading this book? Because it offers me almost this explosion in my imagination. So this book really just goes into what the future might be about. And it has this kind of positive kind of approach. The writer has this positive approach in that the future might be a lot better than we think. So I'm definitely more of an optimist. I will read books like this because they open my imagination. Here's another one. Thirst. Now, this book is mind-blowing because it says here at the top, it's a story of redemption, compassion, and a mission to bring clean water to the world. And this is very personal. I've got a huge heart for wanting to help people move forward or helping to see some changes happen in the world. So when I see people write books like this, I want to be all over it. I mean, look how thick this book is, right? Like I'm so eager to read a book like this. And for me, this book is all about the story of how somebody went from just having a normal job to just focusing on purpose and really wanting to change the world. And so this book is really about purpose. It's about this charity called Water, and it's one to definitely make sure you check out if you've got any interests in stuff like this. Third book by my bedside at the moment is called Mission. And this is a fantastic business book. The kind of subtext is how the best in business breakthrough. It says here, this book shows you how companies can define, build, and communicate their purpose in order to prosper. Now, again, this book is about, for me, it's about purpose. It's about this focus on this dual aspect of purpose and profits. Okay, so you're not just focusing on profit, you're really focusing on really understanding why and focusing on purpose. Now, what on earth does this have to do with you making more money or attracting more money to yourself? It's because books like this give you imagination. And this is what TV cannot do for you. Yeah. So when I say to people, stop watching TV, I'm not just saying it because you're going to save you a few pounds, bits of money here and there. It's really about freeing you up and giving you back your time and empowering you to make the time for a diversity of books. So not just books focused on a specific niche, but books that just open up your mind to possibilities, okay? And the minute you're able to do that, you will start to connect the dots about how to solve people's problems. And the minute you're able to solve people's problems, guess what happens? Ka-ching! Money flows into your life because that's exactly what money making is about. It's about value creation. It's about solving problems. It's about delivering results, okay? So the minute you're able to do that, the game changes. And that's why I keep talking about people reading books all the time. Okay, moving on. Next one on personal development is get yourself a mentor. You might hear a lot of people talk about this. Get a mentor. And you might be thinking, yeah, okay, whatever. Sounds good, right? Or get a coach, same thing. Now, I've got life coaches. I had a life coach 2014 to 2015. And this year in 2019, I did some more coaching with a lady who was absolutely phenomenal. So I take coaching myself, right? I absolutely recommend coaching because it's the single quickest way to experience a transformation. If you've got a problem right now and you're stuck, if you're just stuck and you can't seem to move forward in something, you're trying to start a business or whatever it is you're doing, or you've got some personal problems. If you want a transformation, please trust me on this one. Trust the process. Find yourself a coach, right? Don't book me as a coach. Go and find somebody who can do it for you, right? They will be, honestly, if you get the right person, not only will you get your results quick enough, this is the really key bit, you also build a relationship, which is like you can't even place a value on that, okay? Next, I'd say, obviously read blogs, podcasts, all the usual stuff that everybody talks about. But my two biggest ones are read books and get yourself a coach or a mentor and do niche courses. I do quite a lot of niche courses and those have been quite transformational for me. And here's what's really important, right? Because doing all this stuff is great, but you must then take some risk and apply your learning to some problems, right? You've got to then experiment and apply those things, because the minute you start to think like that and start to respond to life in this way, okay, right, you will start to see money flow into your life, because that's just what happens. It's just, you don't even have to put effort in for the money to flow in, because your mindset's completely different, because you are now somebody who's focused on value, solutions, results, right? And people love that. Okay. Number 2, and I've talked about this one before, but I'll keep talking about it because it's so important, right? Number 2 is this focus on honesty, integrity, and transparency, okay? This is just like bread and butter stuff that we in the past, sorry, there's a car. This guy revving, his car. I did tell you these films are not scripted, right? We're challenged a lot with honesty, integrity, and transparency today. We're challenged in every sphere, right? In our relationships, marriages, friendships, work relations, business, you name it, right? Every single day, right? There's a challenge. In fact, there's a challenge the minute you leave your door. Okay. Every morning I leave my house, I expect to be challenged in these areas of honesty, integrity, and transparency. Okay. And because you are challenged, it's easy to fail in these areas. Sorry. It's easy to fail in these areas. This guy. Right. It's easy to fail in these areas. Okay. So what you need to do in this area is, this has to really come, I almost think these have to really become values that you rank very high in your life, okay? Because the reason this matters and the reason why this is linked to money making is that if you value honesty, integrity, and transparency in your life, whether you've got a normal day job or whether you're pursuing business or whether you're becoming an investor, these values cut straight across these values cut straight across all these verticals, whether you're doing a day job or whatever, because the minute anybody identifies that you are a man or a woman of honesty, right? Like you prioritize these things, of integrity, right? Of transparency, they would want you, honestly, you'd be headhunted like immediately, because people want people who carry with them something a bit more than the ordinary. Because these attributes, these values have become so important in our everyday dealings, because they're just so rare now. You just only need to open up your free newspapers that we all get on our train journeys, right? Open one of those up. And on every page, people displaying the complete opposite to honesty, integrity, and transparency. So if you really want money to flow into your life, i.e. without you even have to work so insanely hard at making money, right? If you make these values a big part of your life design, a big part of what you rank really high, when someone says to you, what are your values? And you bring these up and you live them, you don't just say them by words, but you put them into action, you will see changes, not just in your own personal life, but in your financial life. I've seen this myself because I've been on this journey myself, right? And I've been growing in my own life around what I consider to be my own truth, my own level of authenticity, and being able to communicate that to people and being able to live it as well has meant that I've been able to open doors that I ordinarily would not have been able to open, because I've displayed my way of living to various people all through my life. I'd say probably in the last 10, more so in the last 10 years. Okay. So this is not something that you hear a lot of people talk about, but honestly, trust me on this one. If you value honesty, value integrity, and value transparency, they will take you places big time, right? Next, number 3 is strategic collaborations. Okay. So this one, right? This is what I find interesting about life, is that People want to move forward, right? But a lot of people think that by keeping their ideas to themselves and hugging their ideas, that somehow some magic happens and they're going to just like sail into the wind and become a grand success. That's not how life works, okay? Strategic collaborations means that you seek out people of, common values, people you can work with, right? So this is about teamwork for a common good, achieving some outcome, some goal. I've seen this in my own life, even today, running the Humble Penny, right? None of it would work if I just saw this as this is just Ken doing his thing. I've got my wife, who is my life partner. I've got friends who are partners in different ways. We share ideas. We share what we're learning. We share the hacks. We share resources. We share tools. We share experiences. We share connections. There's just so much stuff that people say to me, Ken, how is it you're able to achieve so much all at once at the same time? You start something, it suddenly becomes a success, but you've got the same time that I've got. In fact, a friend of mine called me and took me out to a bar and asked me that question. He said, you've got the same time that I've got. In fact, you and I were training together when we were doing our professional exams. How is it you've been able to just go like bum, 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 bum? But the reason for that, part of the reason, is because of strategic collaborations. I've always seen this as a secret sauce almost. If you want more money coming into your life than you currently are, ask yourself these questions. Who could I be working with to help me advance in my financial life at the moment? Who else could I work with? Okay, so you might have been doing things in one particular way. How about doing it in a completely different way? Who could you collaborate with? Who could you share your fears and your failures and your thoughts with, such that they might be able to help you advance yourself from your current circumstances? I mean, who could that be? I seek people out all the time. If I meet people, if I learn about somebody and they've got a particular skill set, they've got a particular level of experience or exposure, I dig my well before I'm thirsty. So what I typically do is get out there and start to build some form of a relationship. I would always say that building a relationship with somebody is always the beginnings for a strategic collaboration, okay? So think of it today. Ask yourself, who could I be building a relationship with such that one day I might be able to get into a form of a strategic collaboration with them? Because like it or not, and I know this is going to sound really corny, all right, two are better than one. I mean, that's just fact. You can't even argue with that. I've done things on my own strength, right, where I think, yeah, I've got the skills, got the talent, I've got the passion and drive. But boy, believe me, there are days when I'm just like, I'm knackered, man. I don't want to do any work whatsoever. I just want to chill out. But if you've got a strategic partner, they will kick you in the, where it hurts, right? They will kick you and ask you to get up, let's get moving. You need people like that. And that's what I found. You need people who can push you, inspire you, motivate you, drive you. That's what strategic partners do. And I get this through my wife, through very close friendships that I nurture and protect, because they help me advance and advance and advance. And with advancement comes income growth, wealth growth, opportunity growth, what have you. It just happens, right? Next is sell something useful, right? Now, this is just going to sound so obvious, right? Like Ken's telling me that I should be selling something to attract more money into my life. Like, duh. Right? Yeah. But it is obvious. But are you doing it? Are you doing it? Right? That's a question for you. If you are doing it, good on you. If you are not, take this as a really, really obvious but very important point. You can sell something useful as a way to start to bring more money into your life. And you can do this in various ways, whether it's you selling directly or whether it's you becoming a perfect middleman and selling things that other people have created. This point is so obvious that I shouldn't even be telling you about it. But like, you'd be amazed how many people will say to me, Ken, like, do you know what? You're kind of telling the truth. And I am. And that's because we all have things that are either around us or skill sets that we have that we can put out there to attract more money into our lives, but these various things just lay dormant and not being used at all. So selling something that's useful, remember the key word there is useful, is another way of you creating value. And by creating value, you get rewarded. And one of the ways you get rewarded is by money coming into your life. You being paid, basically, okay? Even if you sold something useful and you did not get paid, financially, you could build a relationship, and that relationship could open many other doors. So you can do things such as offering your current skill sets as a coach, for example. You can teach people how you do things. You can help people solve specific problems. You can help people sell things. You can sell things that you found, useful tools and services to people. The list goes on. I mean, there's so many things that you can do. I mean, I'll put a link to a bunch of resources I've created, such as, 85 ways to make extra money, 12 best side hustle ideas. All these things are things that kind of open up your mind to possible ideas on, products and services that you might be able to offer in order for more money to start to come back into your life, okay? Number 5 is for you to take more risk. Now, who loves taking risks? I kind of do, actually. Now, I've never been somebody who loved risk-taking. And I think risk-taking kind of grows on you over time. It's either you're somebody who just loves risk-taking, you're just out there all the time trying things out, or you're just somebody who is somewhat risk-averse, but by being experimental, right? So inputs come in, outputs come out, right? You're observing results. By being that person, you can start to grow in your ability to take more risk. And with risk-taking comes returns. I mean, these are just, two sides of the same coin, right? So I'm more of the latter person, that person who's more of an experimenter, right? So because I've been historically risk averse, I'd become somebody who thought, perhaps the way I could start to take more risks is to try things out, okay? But how do you know what to try out? Well, I thought you wouldn't ask. Well, you know what to try out by reading books, and by observing your environment, and by listening to people, and by looking at ideas that other people have been a success at and trying them out for yourself. And once you do that, you start to see things happen. Those are called outputs and results. And you observe those outputs and results, and you tweak them, and you try things again. And the more you do this type of stuff, the more you are likely to create value for other people. And the more you're able to do that, the more you will attract more money into your life. Number 6 is to give more. Now, this is one of those things that I still today, I really can't put my finger on why this works and why this attracts more things into your life. Giving is one of those things I've personally kind of struggled with in the earlier part of my life. I'd probably say maybe 10 years ago, for example. I'd struggled a lot with giving. Mainly because I always thought that giving only involved giving money. Okay, you had to give money and that's it. And money is one of those things I've actually struggled with, kind of letting money go, letting it kind of get out there into the world or into other people's lives. But over time, I've learned that the more you have this attitude to giving altogether, so whether it's giving your money or giving your time, or giving your talents, right? The more you see yourself as somebody who is a giver and you actually do it, you're not just like all words and no action, you actually take the steps to give, the more you see a lot of what you're giving out flowing back into your life, right? You see a lot more abundance come into your life. And I don't want to get super kind of, spiritual or what have you, but for me, this is just like, even if you're the kind of person kind of operates at the, physical level of life and not the spiritual element, giving works for bringing more money into your life, even from that perspective, right? But giving is an entirely a heart thing. It really has to come from the heart. It really must come from the heart for this to be something that actually eventually works for you. So you don't give because you want to just receive, right? You don't say, this is an equation, I give and therefore I receive. That's not quite how it works. But one thing I would say to you though, and this is me speaking very personally, is that a big part of what we're doing day to day, whether we're making these videos or whether we are creating blog content, or whether we are meeting people for coaching, advising, creating courses. Like, there's just, if I start making a list, I'd make a list of 50 things, right? Easily, right? All those aspects of the outputs that you're seeing are driven by an internal acceptance that giving is a way in which we should do our lives, okay? And because we've chosen for giving to be a key part of how we do our lives, we've seen abundance, right? And money is just one way, kind of in the world that we express that abundance, or that abundance is seen, okay? And it continues to be like that. And so I would say to you, if you are somebody who would love to attract more money into your life, it might sound weird to you, but I'd say consider giving more money away from your life, consider giving more of your talents away, and consider giving more of your time away. Okay, those three things. And the more you do that, the more invariably you start to see more money, abundance, resources, all kinds of things will start to flow into your life. Because the real principle there really is that money doesn't come into your life and then stop, right? Because you are then somebody who's letting money kind of flow through them, right? This is, I'm getting a bit deep here, right? You're not letting, money's not just coming in and stopping at your life. You're not hoarding money, but you are somebody who's letting the resources flow through them. And when you let resources flow through you, right, you become a conduit for resources, a conduit for money. Anyone who's able to do that and act in the capacity as a conduit, as in effect a steward, is probably another way to put it, they start to see a great deal more of abundance come into their lives. Anyway, guys, I really hope you've enjoyed that video. For me, I love making these random videos where I just talk about things that are on my mind. Let me know in the comments, what you really thought about those ideas and what aspects of what I said might have been challenging for you. And what aspects were possibly insightful for you. Please let me know. And if you've got ideas for how anyone can start to attract more money into their lives, please put them in the comments as well, okay? Thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate you guys so much. Honestly, this for me is a dream actually making this video. So the fact that you're watching them is like a dream come true in effect, okay? So thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you, and I'll see you on our next video. Take care and bye for now.